everyone, this is Mentor Tuba. I am back with an ACP scenario, and this scenario is actually pretty exciting, pretty interesting. It checks your knowledge related to Kanban, work in progress limits. Let me read out the scenario first, and then we will discuss. The scenario is pretty simple. So choose a column in the presented Kanban board that requires additional resources to release the bottleneck. A, spec, B, code, C, test, and D, doc. And this Kanban board is presented in front of. So, of course, to answer this question, you should be knowing what is Kanban, what is work in progress limit, what is the idea of workflow states. And I'm assuming that you are aware of that to answer this question, but like quickly to help you understand, Kanban is a way of working in Agile where visualization and visibility of the work is presented, and the overall project is divided among in the form of a backlog items among different states. You can have your different states as per your team's convenience, but usually the bare minimum is to do, in progress, and done. This is a bare minimum visualization on the on our respective Kanban board. But yes, if customized states are needed, like documentation and approved or approval pending, approval done, testing, development, deployment, like this, different, as much visibility as you want for the backlog items, you can create that. That totally depends on your team, your customers, and the mutual consensus with respect to the visualization of the work items, right? Of course, the concept of backlog is there, the concept of backlog items are there, the concept of user story is there, the concept of agreement to what is going to be there in backlog, what's going to be prioritized, everything is going to be there. However, how you are going to represent that work with respect to that team's collaboration on those items is represented by these states, right? And there is a concept of work in progress limit as well. So work in progress limit can be applicable to Scrum boards as well, but usually it's a KPI in Kanban. So work in progress limit determines that how much work a respective team member or a respective team associated with that Kanban project can take. So usually each of the state is taken care of by respective team or a sub team in that project. Like the way over here we have spec, code, test, documentation. So you can expect that spec is taken care of by BAs, code is by development team, test is by QA, and documentation by relative technical documentation team. I'm just saying it. It could be cross collaborative team as well, but usually you will have respective team members in there. So the work in progress limit determines that how much work that respective team or the team members can take in that state, right? And this is exactly what the ask of this question is. So you need to have this context, this background knowledge with you to help understand this question. Now let's talk about this scenario. So over here, there are 6 states, and the main work is being represented with the middle 4 states: spec, code, test, and documentation. And this is exactly what the question is asking, that by seeing this Kanban board, what do you think? That where the team actually need more resources because of the anticipated bottleneck and to release that bottleneck. So the next question is, what is bottleneck? Bottleneck means that a particular type of work is being stuck because of the lack of resources, because of the lack of resources, resource hours or resource time available, right? So the states which are predecessing, they are doing their work, they are releasing their work, but that work is not being followed through, because it's exactly how it works in case of Kanban, that one area does their work, then they feed into the other area, then the second area does, then they feed into the third area, and till the point the backlog item gets to the completion state. So over here, one item would add to the new state, then it will be pulled into the spec state. Then after the specs and the requirement clarification is done, then it would be entering code state, then the test state and documentation, and then the done state, right? So where do you think that the work is being done nicely by that respective team members, but actually it's not passing to the next state in a smooth manner for the reason that that state is constrained with respect to work in progress limit? We need to check that, and accordingly we will understand that that state is actually requiring more resources because the previous state is doing their work and releasing the work, but the next state is not able to take that because of their resource constraint. Okay. So you can see it easily over here that the work in progress limit for the spec state is 4, code state is 5, test state is 2, doc state is 1, which means that that respective team or the team members assigned to that respective area of work, this many number of user stories at a given point in time begins. So clearly spec and code is covered, but the testing state is constrained because so the easy way of understanding it is if the coding team is doing 5 items at a point and if they are releasing 4 or 5 items at a given point in time, can the test team absorb it? The answer is no. Why? Because the maximum they can absorb is 2 at a given point in time. So even if the core team is releasing 5 items, they are waiting. They are in the queue because test team has half the capacity, actually less than half the capacity of the code. So of course the bottleneck is going to be created. The queue is going to be pretty longer than expected for the to enter in the test state. Right? And accordingly, test is the state which is constrained and requires additional resources to release bottleneck. Bottleneck is a constraint, is a resource constraint. It can be created at any state. It can be created at multiple states in a respective project as well. So the easy way of demonstrating, visualizing bottleneck is the cumulative flow diagram, which is a report, a performance report of the Kanban team. And it also represents this thing, but you can understand it via Kanban board as well, right? So test is that state which creates bottleneck. It's neither spec nor code or doc. It's test state which is at bottleneck. And because of that, the overall work is going to be delayed. Because if the testing is not done, then of course the next team will have to wait. Maybe there are some items which does not require test and that will pass directly from the code to doc state, and that's fine. Those are going to be reaching to a done state in a timely manner, but those which has to pass through the test, they have to wait, and accordingly they will need a delay. Right? And this is exactly what the bottleneck is. So test is the correct answer. Option C is the correct answer. And this actually is a tricky question. I hope you have understood it well. If there are any follow-up queries, feel free to drop that in the comment area or feel free to reach out to us on our WhatsApp or LinkedIn. I will make sure to answer your queries. And don't forget to like our video and to subscribe our channel. Thank you. I will be back very soon with a new ACP scenario. Take care. Goodbye.